My fellow Americans, it has been 50 years since we have been to the moon. In fact, the 50th year this year. And we have seen other countries like China and Japan beat us to space. But today, no more. I promise, if you elect me president, we will become the foremost country in space exploration.
People from across the nation were tuning in to hear candidate Jonas's speeches, renewing their fascinations with outer space.
I am sick and tired of seeing America be in second place when it comes to the solar system. I promise that if you elect me president, we will get to Mars by 2020, and that is a promise I intend to keep. Thank you, and good night.
Let's go!
And so, Jonas went on to win the 2019 U.S. presidential election by a landslide. But not everyone was too happy about it.
I hate space. Stupid damn TV. I hate this president. This is a waste of my tax dollars. This is just going to make our economy worse. Right now we're in a recession, and if the government spends more money, we're just going to go deeper into the recession. This sucks.
Excuse me, Mr. President!
Excuse me, sir. Why do you want the president impeached?
We want space. He hasn't given it to us.
Boo! I sold my house so I could live on Mars.
We have to go to space. I promise the people, we have to. Where's the tissues, man?
Mr. President, have you seen the protests? The people want you out.
I know. I don't know what to do. What should I do?
Gotta do something, man.
I know. It's hard. Should I call him? Should I call Mr. Scientist?
I think you might have to.
I do not want to make the.
Mr. President,
do not want to.
you have to. Do it now. This is an executive order.
Mr. Scientist, I need you. America needs you.
Gentlemen.
Oh, Mr. Scientist.
Hello.
Tell me what I need to know about space exploration.
Mr. President, the moon is approximately 240,000 miles away, right? And no one has left low Earth orbit, which is very close to the Earth, since 1972, right? Now let's pretend if the Earth is a basketball and the moon is a tennis ball, then, and they're 25 feet away, then we haven't left an inch away from that basketball. Mr. President, we are destroying the Earth. We need to go somewhere else, somewhere new. Mars.
Mr. Scientist, I assume you're a very smart man, but what are the mathematics behind getting to Mars?
And Mr. President, I calculate that the final cost would come out to around $20 billion.
Mr. Scientist, you were a lot of help. I have to make some phone calls now. Very important to world security.
Thank you.
economic advisors, we have to get together. We have to get to Mars. For the nation and for the world. Yes?
Mr. President, it's an honor.
It's an honor. So, Mr. President, we hear that you want to expand our space exploration program.
Yes.
Well, I have news for you. This is going to cost not 20 million, but $20 billion. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's a lot of zeros.
That is a lot of zeros. What
So,
are we gonna do?
The
how
government
do we get
needs
there?
to increase its spending, and we need to increase our budget for space. So there's 3 ways we can do this. First off, we can shift, or we can switch what we're using our money on. So currently, our focus is emphasized more on consumer goods. Our government spending pushes its money into this side of the spectrum. If we were to increase space spending to $20 billion, that means nearly all of our government spending would shift way up here, meaning lacking funding for consumer goods and increasing spending for space exploration. So that's number 1.
Alright, our second option will be increasing tax spending. So this means that we're going to tax the people more, but it's not a viable option whatsoever, because if we increase the taxes on the people, then they have less money to spend and there's less economic boost.
Oh, Tyler, don't forget, the spending multiplier is greater than the tax multiplier. Also, our last option is increasing government borrowing, and our deficit will go up. So here's the issue. Once the government is demanding more money, demand goes up right here, correct?
Correct.
Demand going up means that we have a new equilibrium up here, and our real interest rates, as you can see, will spike. If the real interest rates spike, guess what happens?
I don't know, you're the economic advisor, you tell me.
Well, what happens, there's a finite amount of money in the money supply. So, the more people are demanding money, means interest rates will go up. If interest rates go up, that means private investment goes down because small businesses will no longer want to take loans on large amounts of money since they're going to have to pay back larger amounts since the interest rates go up. You see what happens? This is going to hurt the economy. We cannot do this, Mr. President.
I have a question. What happens to GDP with that one? If investment goes down, what happens to GDP? I don't know. It goes down!
Mr. President, that is a simple question. GDP will go down!
Well, I guess we can't do that. Do you guys have a solution?
I think I know someone we can call up. But there'll be a high opportunity cost of calling this person.
Okay, who are they?
They are none other than the AP Macroeconomic Super Team. I swore to never call them ever again.
Guys, we need you.
America needs you.
Mr. President, I have a package for you.
It's the solution.
Mr. President, this is the solution.
To all your problems.
I don't understand. It all looks right.
We'll explain it to you, Mr. President. Follow us.
To the whiteboard.
This is only half the story.
This is done.
Thank you for erasing that pen. This is the secret sauce.
Gentlemen, I like the enthusiasm, but I don't understand.
You see, Mr. President, increasing government spending isn't always such a bad thing. In fact, has many perks, as Penn will demonstrate.
Here's a graph, a simple graph of our economy. Here we have the price level, here we have the real GDP. This line is the short-run aggregate supply, the long-run aggregate supply, and the aggregate demand. When we increase government spending with our space program, that will shift our aggregate demand to the right. Now immediately you probably say, oh, that's going to result in a higher price level, right? But no, because of the innovation that space travel gives us, we actually shift our long-run aggregate supply to the right and our short-run aggregate supply to the right, because we now have new technologies that will shift it over to the right. And so we are at equilibrium here, so that we just have a higher real GDP and not a higher price level.
But I don't understand. Still not.
In the past, innovation in space technology has led to many technologies that we still use today. Here are some things that have been created because of NASA. First off, scratch-resistant glass, like these things. I wouldn't have this without NASA. Second off, CAT scans. They were used to develop good digital images in space, and that's why we have them today. Additionally, LED lights were used to grow planes in outer space. Foil blankets, home insulation, the jaws of life, the jaws used to cut open cars in car accidents. Freeze-dried food, baby formula, and memory foam. All of these are just a few things that have been developed because of space travel, and this is why we have to continue to invest in NASA so we can grow our technology in the future.
I like it. But how are we going to be able to fund this?
So we're going to increase our government spending and grow our deficit a little bit, but
As long as our GDP continues to outpace our deficit growth, it will be totally fine.
additionally, we're going to take a little bit of our spending that is spent on our national defense and put it into space exploration. Okay, so increasing long-run aggregate supply is going to decrease long-run unemployment. So what that's going to do, if this graph will shift in, and our equilibrium of unemployment and inflation will go down. And as you can see, inflation has dropped and unemployment has dropped, further benefiting our economy.
So here is the graph of the money market, right? Here's the money supply, here's the money demanded, this quantity of available funds, this is nominal interest rate. The Fed can change the money supply. And since the government will be taking in a big deficit, the money demanded will increase, right? So that will increase nominal interest rates unless the Fed changes to an expansionary monetary policy and shifts the money supply to the left, thereby keeping the nominal interest rates the same, so the deficit does not have as big of an effect.
And as you can conclude from this presentation, we are in fact going to Mars.
My fellow Americans, I understand that in this past year, my tax raises have affected all your paychecks and all your incomes. But just know, it'll all be worth it. Because by next year, we will be in Mars. The money you guys have put into the government has started a new program for NASA. It is called the STALL program. And by 2021, we will be in Mars. I would like to apologize. I know that in my campaign I said this year would be the year, but I would like to thank you all for your continued support of my presidency. And I promise, next year will be the year. We will get to Mars by next year. Mark my words. Have a good night, and God bless. It's so beautiful. We did it.
But isn't that gonna hurt?
Because of the STALL program's success in boosting the U.S.'s economy, President Jonas was re-elected in 2023, voted in unanimously.
4 years ago, I promised that we would get to Mars. And you know what? We did. I kept my promise, and I'd like to thank the American people for re-voting me into the office.
Woo!
I do solemnly swear to execute the office of president to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Woo! 4 more years! 4 more years! I guess he was right after all. I guess the increase in government spending really did help our economy. Should have known better. And so should you guys.
Four years, baby.
Yeah! Let's go!
4 years.
So that's number 1. Number 2, we could increase our taxes. Increasing taxes would be extremely annoying. Sorry. I hate space.
I did not have sexual relations with that rocket.